If conventional strengthening exercises haven't been working for your SI joint pain, it's time to try something different and start retraining your nervous system to change your habitual movement patterns and that have been destabilizing your SI joint. So we're going to start the movement lesson lying down on the floor. You can lie down on a yoga mat. You can support your neck and head with a blanket or pillow or cushion, something like that. And it is a good idea and that you watch my demonstration without actually doing the movements first. So you can become familiar with the movement sequence and then go back and then start practicing following my verbal guidance with your eyes closed so that you can bring all your attention into your body so that you can begin to learn from the inside, right? You want to learn about your body. You want to be connected to your body as you go through the movement practice. So let's begin. And please lie down on your back with your legs bent, knees, feet about the hip width apart. And from this position, and very gently and gradually begin to push through your right heel. And allowing your right hip to lift away from the floor. Allowing your pelvis to turn to the left side a little bit. And let your pelvis come back down to the floor. Make sure your knees stay steady. Your knees don't shift side to side. Don't force the movement. It's just a gentle movement, allowing your hip to lift, allowing your pelvis to turn. And keep your abs, your core relaxed. Try not to engage your core. It's kind of funny to say that. So that your pelvis, your hips can move more freely. So you can touch your abs and making sure your abs are not really contracting. And just do this movement several times until this movement becomes smoother and easier. And now you add in a movement of lifting your left hip, lifting your left foot away from the floor simultaneously as you push through the right heel. So your pelvis turns to the left side smoothly, right? So as you do this movement, observing how the pelvis moves and what happens to your low back, you may notice your low back tends to arch. And if that's the case, and just see if you can reduce your effort and so that your pelvis could just turn very easily and smoothly to the left side. And now you switch over to the other side. You now slowly begin to push through the left heel. Gentle movement, allowing your left hip to move. Lift away from the floor, allowing your pelvis to turn to the right. Watch your knees. Make sure your knees don't shift side to side. Reducing any extra effort, any unnecessary effort in your abs. And then you add lifting your right foot away from the floor simultaneously as you push through the left heel so that the pelvis turns to the left side without really extending through your back. It's a very smooth movement. So you're coordinating between the two legs. One side is you're engaging your hip extensors and the other side is you're engaging hip flexors, distributing the effort evenly between the two sides. And once you're done that side and alternating left and right side. So it is really basically marching. You're marching, balancing out the right leg and the left leg so that you're not really stressing or destabilizing your SI joint. Even distribution of the movement between the two sides so that the pelvis could turn left and right as you are marching. So repeat these movements until the movement becomes smoother and smoother. And once you're done several times, the movement becomes a little easier and then you can stop the movement. Now slowly stand up. And what you just went through is just exploring two legs and how you actually push through the legs and initiating, that leg from initiating the movement from your hips, extensors, and then starting to coordinate with the opposite hip flexors. So as the one leg, you press through the floor, and the opposite leg begins to lift away. Because we're really using the two legs very differently. And when you're using maybe one leg, you tend to push more. You tend to push through the hip extensors more. And the other leg and the other side, you don't quite use the hip extensors as much in functional activities. So what that means is that when you walk, for example, you tend to push more through one leg, say right leg, and predominantly. So every step you carry that patterns of almost the limping patterns, boom, 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 right? You push more heavily through the right leg, not so much with the left leg. So more predominantly using the hip flexors on the left side, hip extensors on the other side in the way that you use your legs, right? And how does that impact your pelvis, your SI joint? As you went through the movements, lying down on the floor, and you probably found that initiating the movement and turning the pelvis, lifting, pushing through the one leg is easier, and the other side is not so easy, quite difficult. And sometimes you find that you wanted to arch your back, or you twist your back, or something like that. But idea is to slowing down the movement and to start to retrain the movement patterns in, so that more evenly distributing effort between the two legs, two hips. So you using the extensors, you using the flexors, and more evenly between the two legs as you are alternating pushing, pulling, pushing, lifting, right? So that is basically walking. If you do stand up and then starting to shift your weight slowly over to the right leg and then begin to lift your left foot, right? So the simultaneous push and lift happens. So that's the gait patterns. And then you slowly shift your weight over to the left side and then begin to lift your right leg, right foot, and then away from the floor. So then the left foot begins to press more. So the simultaneous push and lift, and that's really the gait patterns. And you can slowly observe these, movement patterns, the same movement patterns in standing, and that is what you just explored lying down on the floor. And then you can starting to change your habitual patterns so that you can more evenly distribute the movements and walking, smoothing out your walking, so that you don't end up turning and twisting through the pelvis and stressing the SI joint in the same way in all the functional patterns and the movement patterns, right? Over and then over and over. So that's the nervous system retraining, the movement retraining. And you're going to use this exercise to retrain specific movement patterns, and you can practice this lying down on the floor. You can also explore the same movement patterns sitting on the chair and then also standing. It's basically marching, right? It's basically walking. And try to bring that new awareness and new movement patterns into your daily activities and more. And that's how you start to change your habitual movement patterns and starting to bring more stability to your SI joint, if that makes sense. So let me know what you think, and let me know what was your experience, and as you went through, what you noticed, what you discovered about your own habitual movement patterns. If you like this video, and please support my channel by subscribing and hitting the like button. And if conventional approaches haven't been working for your body, and please watch my free masterclass. The link is in the description below. And you can also apply for my comprehensive movement course inside the masterclass if you want to rediscover the joy of moving your body again. So I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.